There's people waiting to get online. We're late. We're late, and we wasn't late. We're bang on time. So I'm not sure what's going.
I can't see it.
I'm not sure what's going on there. Set the trend live, unless they've got a delay.
We're not live. I think we're gonna have to come off and come back on.
No.
We're live on Facebook. I've just seen it on Facebook, or is this YouTube? We are live on YouTube now.
Right. Okay. I can't see it.
We are. I don't know what happened there, but we are definitely live now on YouTube.
And we wasn't late. Let's make them know we wasn't late. We was on time. Bang on 10.
No, we're live on everything now. It's
yes.
on everything now.
Excellent.
So, for those joining us late on YouTube, welcome. Share and subscribe to the link to our page. As we said, we have two distinguished guests on tonight: Lee Jasper and Basil Linx, Pempanzi, or Basil Pempanzi, as some of us know us. So it's health, it's business, it's community today, and we're ready for those nuggets to drop today on that. Reggie, you'll be monitoring the forums.
Yeah, comments, and then add in my own two little piece here and there.
just two little pieces.
Yeah.
And also EastEnder. Are you monitoring?
I'm monitoring. I'm doing the same. If Reggie misses anything, I'm gonna be. My beady eyes will be on it to snap them all up and see.
Sorry, that was me. That was me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, cool. I'm live here on Facebook now. My YouTube link is up.
Right. So
I can see it all now.
Right. So those gentlemen will be up in about 10 minutes' time. In the meantime, lads, EastEnder, what you been up to?
You know what? It's funny. Well, first of all, lockdown period time is coming back. You know, when your hair starting to look a bit out of shape and you can't get to your local barber, I've hit that time now. So that's something I'm going to either live with or see if I can get a personal barber to come around and give me a little shape up.
Is he in your bubble?
No, he's not in my bubble.
So it's not going to happen then?
It's not going to happen, mate.
Can't risk it as well.
You've got to get Miles. You got to give Miles a trimmer.
Get him.
I can't get him to do everything.
You can homeschool him on a new skill. If he's half as good as cutting hair as he is as golf, you're in safe hands.
Professional golfer he is now. It's quite funny actually. I've actually been doing what we've been told to do: work from home. My music room looks like my record shop because it's like
all over
so many records all over the place.
Yeah,
there's so many records all over the place. My online sales is going crazy at the moment because obviously non-essential shops can't open, so the only way you can purchase records right now is via online. So, and it's been really, really busy selling records. Plus, one of the big in-demand rare groove records that everyone's been trying to get hold of, the vinyl collectors, William Stuckey, has been re-released for the first time. So the original album fetches are like good money, £300-400, and they've just reissued it for the first time. And
$9.99?
No, it's not actually. It's there you go. That's the reissue one.
Wow,
it's selling now for $22.99, and
that's not bad.
And it's selling all over the UK and in Europe. So the orders are doing really well at the moment. So
fantastic. So I can come to you for a loan.
He's a tight. He ain't giving you out no money. Reggie, what you been up to this week, mate?
This week, just been getting on work. Working on a couple of business ventures, and also just messing around on the live, and that's it really. Just doing my normal business stuff. A few radio shows here and there,
as usual for the Soul of London.
Yeah, that's right. London Soul Radio.
London Soul Radio.
London, yeah.
What are you smirking for, Ray? You sound like...
I'm happy, mate. I'm happy.
You sound like
there might be a transfer in the pipeline. You never know. Keep it killed.
I don't know so much. I don't know if I wanted that much.
Who said I was talking about you?
And then it won't be you, mate. Transfer. Where you going to go? Capital Extra, Reggie? I can see you there.
No, he's good for... Yeah, I think Capital Extra would suit him right down to the...
Well, DJ Tiny's just been... sadly given the chop, so you never know. I might get a phone call. Or I might have had the phone call.
You might get the phone call.
You never know. I might have had the phone call already. You don't know.
We're praying for you, brother. This week, what did I do? Monday, Mikey MJR's 9 was on Monday. So a few of us got together. We did a live stream for the gentleman and Daily Departed, and it was a good coming together for the community. That's one of the things, isn't it? When you do a live now, you can instantly see it you can feel people, but you can also see their comments and the love hearts and everything going along. Whereas maybe if you was in a restricted venue, you'd only get X amount of people in, and you couldn't get so much people in. Although Mikey would have had a tremendous 9, I can just imagine how much people would try to turn up for that. So yeah, I did that, and I did Shamps and Giggles yesterday as well. Got invited on by Jemmy P to talk about Fifth Avenue, which was quite interesting. So that was fun. I enjoyed that. That was a load of fun as well. And then
any awkward questions there that you couldn't answer?
Nah, I answered everything.
You sure?
There's no questions. I'm fully PR trained, bro. Yeah, I am PR trained. Unlike some of my fellow DJs this week. Anyway, also let's get into this. Michelle Escoffrey. She's now the president of PRS.
Yeah.
Reggie, do you want to tell our listeners what PRS is?
Okay, so if you own a venue or if you're an artist, you probably have come across PRS, and maybe you haven't. And if you are own a venue or an artist or composer or a performer, basically they're a collection society. So they're called the Performance Rights Society, which is what the acronym stands for. And they collect rights on behalf of artists and performers from like TV, radio, when your music is played in public. So if you were to open up a business, you would have to have a PRS license, and which is what you pay for. So that's basically what the PRS do. They're a collection society, and then at the end of the year or every quarter, they pay a certain amount of money to the performers, which who are due their royalties.
And there's a lot of shops, hairdressers, barbers, record shops, and garages that all play music in their premises.
Yeah,
and they are supposed to pay PRS as well.
And can you tell everybody, Eastender, who Michelle Escoffrey is?
Michelle Escoffrey is part of the Escoffrey Sisters. They're a group of fantastic female singers. You're going to tell me it's truth now? No, it's not truth.
No, it's not.
No, they're not truth. But yeah, it's a fantastic group. Signed to Atlantic, I think it was.
Was that Atlantic or A&M?
No, East West.
Oh, okay, all right.
They were signed to East West Records, and it's a good day for Michelle. Nice job, and she's kind of close to us. So I reckon in the next 2 or 3 weeks we're going to have her here on Set the Trend, and she will be giving us more information about the PRS and what we can do for our live streams without getting cut off.
Yeah.
Because part of that is, PRS, not having the license to play those songs. So I can't wait till we get her on.
And she's an amazing songwriter as well. She's written some great hits.
Yes.
Right. Also.
Just to say, on the PRS point, we didn't get there, but there's an online license, which is they've introduced for people. So, for instance, if you're ticketing an event online and you are selling tickets for an event online, you now have to require a license, which costs anything from £22 to £45.
£22.50, yeah. And that means your streams, I presume, won't get taken down or won't get muted off.
So you have the license to do it. But even non-ticketed events still have to have that license, as you know. And that's the reason why a lot of people's streams get taken down, because they don't have the license to broadcast some of these music.
Reboot.
It's only 22 quid, Ray.
Anyway, people, if you're on YouTube, can you follow us and subscribe us? We're near 1,000 mark. We want to get to 1,000 tonight. So if you can like and follow us on YouTube, even if you're not on it, you're on the Facebook, please follow us on the YouTube channel as well as. This week, RIP, Cecilia Tyson, American actress and fashion model. She died this week, 96. She got an honorary Grammy at 93. She played Kunta Kinte's mother. That was one of her roles in
Roots.
In Roots. That's right. And President Obama in 2016 awarded her with the Medal of Freedom, the nation's highest civilian honor. And she wasn't one for playing as well. She didn't play. She was an active. She was an active person of the civil rights movement, and she didn't play. She didn't take no roles that demeaned her. You know what I mean? Or she seemed like she was playing like the Benson role. She wasn't having none of that.
Yeah, very strong black woman. Yeah. And did you know she had a relationship for 22 years, on and off relationship, with Miles Davis, one of the jazz genius. She was married to him for 7 years. And, you know, it's just, I could just imagine the two of them together. You know, a strong, powerful woman and a man who's so cool with his trumpet. I could see how he charmed his way into her life. You know,
you look like you can blow a bit as well, East.
I used to play the clarinet. That used to be my instrument.
I was alto saxophone. Welcome to the woodwinds.
What was your speciality at blowing, Ray?
I didn't
bubbles. He had that bubble machine.
There you have it. So, rest in peace, Cecilia Tyson. We're supposed to be very somber at this point. Please, gentlemen, don't lose it. Also, Aka Exploder, CEO of Uncle John's Bakery, he sadly passed away this week. Do you want to bring us up to speed on that, Reggie?
Yeah, Sam Mensah, his story was that he was an artist. He performed alongside, the era of Getz and, when the first grime era of artists were coming through. And his dad and parents owned a business, which is probably the only Ghanaian bakery in Tottenham, North London. It was an institution, and it still is an institution where people go there to get their homemade African like sweetbread and rolls and all sorts. So sadly, he passed away suddenly. And it's a big loss for the community and for especially people who are in the music industry as well. Everybody knew him. He did really well. He also founded an organization called the Dope Black Dads, which was a couple of black dads as well. So he's one of the co-founders for that. So it is definitely a big loss. I got a big up Explode. I remember seeing him years ago, and it's sad to see that he passed away.
And he turned that business around into a multi-million,
yes, that's right. Yeah. He came on board. He reluctantly, he didn't want to do it at first, and then he took over the business, and
it was his family's business, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. So he felt that he could take it on, and he's done some amazing things with it. And for what he's achieved and the legacy that he's left, hopefully it should mark as a great inspiration to a lot of people who want to own any type of business. So if you think about D-Best, Mixed Blessings, he's the kind of like Ghanaian equivalent of that.
Cool. So rest in peace to those guys. It's one of them years, isn't it? The last year's carried on to this year. People are just past transitioning at a rate that's kind of scary at the minute.
Can we say good evening to Daddy Ernie, who says Cicely Tyson, very strong black woman. Good evening also to Ebony Milestone, who says St. Nevis, Cicely's roots, that's where she was born. And also say good evening again to DJ Omar, who's said, yes, very strong black woman.
Indeed.
Do you see anybody in the chat over there, Reggie?
On the YouTube, no, I haven't actually.
On the Facebook?
I haven't got it open. Would help, innit?
That would help.
Come back to me.
Okay. Just before we go to our guest, we have a special guest in next week as well, who's going to be coming over to. You're talking about blowing. Uncle Ernie, keep it clean. We have DJ Yardi, former CEO of Baseline FM and owner of Reminisce Sound System, coming in next week to talk about the rest of the history of Baseline FM. That should be very interesting.
Very interesting. And I think, if anybody knows Yardi and knows him well, and remembers that DJ, well, Yardi to me, DJ Yardi knows him well. He's got a very loud voice, and his breakfast show was very loud and exciting, and he's a very excitable person. So, I can see next week going to be very fiery and loud.
And we welcome. And also, we've got something special set up for the week after, which we haven't actually finished the lineup yet. But it's going to be a Valentine's special. And it's going to be a special because we have some guests coming in to talk about soul music.
Mm-hmm.
And you might be surprised. A few surprises.
And there might be a few surprises. And it's a female-only panel for Valentine's.
And Prue's got it right. She's bang on the money. Next week, we're going to need an extra hour. For Yardi, we're going to need an extra hour. She's bang on point.
Right. So
like to say good evening. I would also like to say good evening to Lefty B. Yes.
Good. Yeah, Uncle Lefty's in the building as well. Big up. If you're on Facebook, can you share the link? And if you're on Facebook as well, can you go to our YouTube page at Set the Trend Podcast and subscribe and follow us there? If you're on YouTube listening to us now, there's quite a few people on there. If you haven't hit the subscribe button, please do so. Thank you very much. Right, let's get into it. We have two guests today. We got Lee Jasper coming on later. And then we have the guests coming on all together. So we'll be here having a combined talk. But in the meantime, our first guest is Managing Director at Pen Pansy and Director of Sales and Business Development at Eat of Eden. Can we welcome, first time on the podcast, he's a health and nutritionist specialist, Basil Linx.
Yay!
How are you, sir?
I'm well, mate. Not too bad.
That's good. Welcome to Set the Trend Podcast.
Yeah, welcome. Thank you for having me, my brother.
Good. Do you know what? We really wanted to talk to you, Basil, because in this specific time, you own. All right, let me just go back. You own some. Well, I don't know how many shops you own now, but you're a health and nutritionist.
11 in total.
11 in total. Does that include the Eat of Eden, or is that separate?
No, that's including the Eat of Eden. Yeah.
Right. And you specialize. Do you want to tell us a bit about Pen Pansy and Eat of Eden and what each of those entities do?
Well, basically, Pen Pansy is a holistic health store. We've been going for about 24 years, and we initially started off in Brixton. We now have branches in Lewisham, Walthamstow, Mitcham, and there are a couple in the pipeline, Fulham, Harlesden and Croydon. So by the mid-year, we'll be up to about 7 branches.
Wow. When did you actually start your business?
Well, to be honest, I've always been a business person. I've always worked for myself since, 86?
Wow.
But Pen Pansy started in about 89. Prior to Pen Pansy, I had a business selling tickets, Ticket Linx.
In Brixton there? In Brixton?
That was in Brixton in the Eurolink.
Yeah.
I had that for 9 years, and at that time selling tickets for black. In fact, the first credit card booking facility. So that was at a time in the early 90s when you couldn't buy a ticket for a black event by credit card at Brixton Academy. They just wouldn't allow it. So that's the reason why I set that up. But yeah, so I've been working for myself for decades, to be honest.
You've forgotten something.
What's that?
You were a promoter.
Okay, yeah. So from selling tickets and working alongside promoters and then invested in projects, from concerts to we started doing promotions, did Rotterdam Carnival Weekender,
Which you
for a few
booked me
years.
for. Yeah, that was the first time I went to Rotterdam. It was for you as well.
Okay, yeah. So we did that. We did that for a few years, and done loads of stuff. Sometimes in the background, sometimes in the foreground. But I think about 2000 or so, when I moved on to Brixton Hill, I sort of decided that I would focus on building out the health business, because that's really where I saw the most potential for growth.
Why was that? Did you see a need for it within our community at the time?
100%. I think the business was more or less set up because within our community, we talk about a pandemic now, but really we've had a pandemic in our community for many years. You know, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, enlarged prostate, fibroids. You know, there's any number of things which disproportionately affect us as a community. So originally, Pempamsi was really set up to meet the needs within our community, but it sort of transcended now into just a general health shop business, with, I'd say, probably 40% of my customers being European, maybe 10-15% being Asian, and the rest being within the Black community.
Okay, thank you for that. So if we talk specifically within this time period, especially within this COVID time period, what have been the difference in terms of people buying products? What type of products were they buying before COVID? And what type of products do you see them buying, or do you see your store selling now because of COVID? Has it changed?
Yeah, most definitely. And I think, fortunately, as a health business, we've been allowed to stay open, uninhibited. So for the last, since March, we've been open 7 days a week. And in truth, our business has probably doubled in terms of turnover in the last year. Now, everyone is very focused at the moment on COVID and, your immune system. So there's lots of things that are immune boosting, lots of herbs, things like zinc, elderberries, echinacea, nano silver, loads of things that people have been buying. And we're selling what we would normally sell in, say, 6 months. We're selling, or 5 months, we're selling that per month. Wow. Yeah. So that's been a major boost for our business. In addition to that, because we also do hair products, skin products, and a lot of the shops traditionally that our community go to, like the Asian-owned hair shops, have been closed. Again, that's given us another influx of new customers. But there's a sector of people that, to some extent, haven't been spoken a lot about, and those are the people that are suffering from enlarged prostates and some cancers and arthritis, who would normally be supported by the NHS, and a lot of the time their appointments are being cancelled because of COVID. Yeah, so we are now getting a higher level of those people that are just suffering from general illnesses coming in. So all in all, we're doing the best that we can do to support the community. But it's been, from a business perspective, it's been great.
What would you say your top 5 products have been over this period?
Well, definitely nano zinc, nano silver, which directly antifungal, antibacterial, antiviral. So they definitely work towards the COVID. Things like CMOS, all those people that have ignored CMOS for years and years. Now everybody's either want CMOS, they want to make CMOS. So that's been, we're selling literally hundreds of CMOSs in all different shapes, in powder, raw CMOS gels, and then a lot of cleansing. I think a lot of people have been at home on furlough or not working, and have started to focus on their own health, and a lot of people have gone on to cleansing programs. So everything from bowel cleansing, kidney, liver, parasite cleansing, blood cleansing. So yeah, we've across the board really. It's been a really buoyant year for us the last 12 months.
In fact, you gave me you introduced me to a cleansing program, didn't you? And
yeah, I did. Yeah, and you know what happens? Like, we don't advertise heavily, but for argument's sake, I'll introduce you. And when you actually see the benefits of a cleansing program, what tends to happen is that one person will tell their own circle, and from there, the word spreads. And that's more or less how we've grown as a business.
So it spreads by word of mouth.
Yeah,
word of mouth, largely, yeah.
And what type is that? What you use as your advertising platform, or do you have other ways of advertising your business?
To be honest, we can barely cope with the amount of business that comes in. Yeah, and the secret of success within, I guess, not just in the health business, but in any business, is the quality of your staff and really understanding your product, whether it's music, whether it's health products, as well as understanding the needs of your customer. So as a sort of lifelong salesperson, I focus a lot on training the team. I'm proud to say that across the whole group, we employ more than 120 people. And we just focus on the team really creating a body of knowledge, so they understand about the product, they understand about why the customer might need the product, and they focus on understanding the needs of the customer.
And is your business a black business? Is it black staff? Would you employ staff in general?
We enjoy probably about 95% of staff from our community, yeah, but we basically employ based on merit, yeah. So our customer base is diverse, and there is a bit of a misconception, for argument's sake, that you can't make money from the Asian community. We make loads of money from the Asian communities because we have what they want, you know. And so it is possible, but yeah, I'd say more or less 95% of our staff are from the black community.
Basil, when we look at COVID and the effects that it seems like it has on the black community and Asian community more than any other community, would you say that research that they've done is in the right ballpark, or would you have concerns about that yourself in terms of how COVID affects us?
Yeah, I'd say I can understand why it would impact more on our community, because based on the original reasons for PEMPAMSI starting up in the first place, we have a disproportionate amount of issues, often blood-related issues. So whether it be high cholesterol, high blood pressure, high blood sugar, although diabetes or high blood sugar is sort of generally across the board within the country, but arthritis, dementia, there's a whole series of issues, health issues, which are disproportionate within the black community. And what this does, these underlying health issues, it just makes your whole, it compromises your immune function. So it makes you more vulnerable when something like COVID, a virus like COVID comes along. And unfortunately, historically, I'm sure most of us here grew up with certain health regimes, such as having a regular washout, such as, which is basically cleansing toxins from your system and helping to boost your immune system. But where we've now adopted or become so sophisticated that we're on the fast food, the amount of sugar, the amount of salt, the amount of fat in our diets, then it's made us a bit more vulnerable. But
I
I'm
heard
glad
somewhere that black people can't process sugar as well as other communities.
that's not necessarily true, but I think
Right.
that our diets generically contain a lot of carbs, which your body metabolizes into sugar. And then a lot of us, you know, whether it's alcohol, whether it's, you know, other things that also impact on your ability to process sugar. So yeah, we have a history. It's not just African Caribbeans, but we do have a history of having high blood sugar, and that is a major problem. Yeah.
So Basil, if I had a complaint or one of my family had a complaint, what would be the essential tools to come to you with, information to come to you with, for you to give advice? Because you don't make a diagnosis, you just give advice.
Just general health advice, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the NHS have got all the equipment and all the tools to give diagnosis, yeah. But what we do is that we use our experience to give general advice and general recommendations, yeah. And primarily, we look at lifestyle. So we would ask you about your diet. We'd ask you about how much water you drink. We'd ask you about how much exercise you do. We'd ask you about how much medication you take, how much sleep you get, how much cleansing, fasting, that type of thing. And once we understand your lifestyle, 9 times out of 10, it's easy to actually identify where the root cause of your problem lies. And in addition to that, a lot of people come with a massive list of medication. Unfortunately, they come to a holistic store when the sort of allopathic, when the NHS say to them, you know, there's nothing more we can do. You've had high blood pressure for 20 years, 15 years, diabetes. And when you look at the prescription, you're able to break it down and see, well, you know, you've been on this medication, and as a result of this medication, it's caused, you know, constipation. So now you're on something for constipation, and then that's caused something else. And when you actually start looking at the list on the prescription, then half the symptoms that they experience are what they call side effects from the medication that they're taking. So I'm not advocating that people shouldn't take medication, but I am saying that your health, often it's in your own hands. And when you do stuff that impacts negatively in terms of drinking, smoking, not drinking enough water, staying up till all hours of the night, then in the long run, it is going to have some kind of impact on your health.
Where did the name Pempanzi come from?
It came from, well, as a name, it's a West African name, yeah? So it's a Ghanaian name. It's an Akan word. And what it means unity. It means more or less a chain is as strong as the weakest link. So it's about work, it's about partnership, it's about unity, it's about community. It means steadfast and ready for action. So, which is part of the reason why we've made sure, true to the name, we've been open 7 days a week. We've supported anyone that comes through our doors from our community, whether they got the money or not. Yeah, we will support them to make sure that if they've got a health need, that we're there to give them some support.
All right. So Basil, hold it there. We're going to pause our talk with you, but you're not going anywhere. You're going to go into our VIP.
Hold on, before he does that, do you have a question from the audience, Ray?
Yeah, there's a
lot of people.
I was going to ask it when he come back.
Sorry. Okay then.
Come back. So if we can make a note of those questions.
Yeah, we'll do.
And then we'll ask Basil when he comes back. Yeah. So if you can, Baz, could you just take 10-15 minutes in our VIP room, and then we're going to ask you to come back out again? Is that okay? Because we've got some questions. Thank you, sir. Thank you for that, Baz. I tell you what.
Very interesting.
And this is what I'm saying about your health is your wealth. And the older that I get, most certainly, I start looking at the benefits of eating properly. You know what I mean? And having a balanced diet and a diet that really works for me. You know what I'm saying?
You know, as he said, you know, the drinking and the late nights.
Yeah.
And the smoking. Yeah.
Which one have you cut out of the three?
I was.
Well, he's never smoked.
You don't smoke.
I've never smoked. I wasn't really a drinker. I mean, I do go on foolish when I'm at when I'm at. So
Ray, we've seen you with a couple of bottles of cognac, mate. Don't play it down.
No, I don't do brandy. Brandy and me does not agree. I start telling everybody the truth about themselves. No, I haven't really been that, but it's been the late nights, the sleeping, because what I do know is that especially doing what I used to do. So you work for 5 days a week and then you go and play out. So your body clock is all over the place. So you're going out, you're playing out, you're not giving your body enough rest. Your body isn't getting that, and it affects you. You know what I mean?
And don't you feel better? Because I know, you know, I see you get up at like 6 o'clock and you start training at 7 in the morning, or you go for your run, or what you do. Waking up early, fresh, it makes you feel better.
It does, and it's all part of that regime that everybody needs to think about. I think in some aspects you've got to think about what you do. But that was interesting. I don't think we finished. I mean, we ain't finished with Basil. We're going to have him back on. We're going to have him back here. But I need to move to our next guest because, you know, we don't want time to run out on us. Yes, Prue, Basil will be back. I know you guys have got questions for him. He will be back to answer your questions. But we have another guest in the building. And he's a gentleman that I feel I've known for years, but actually, I personally, I haven't. I just feel that I've known him for years. He's the first Black Deputy Mayor of London.
Woo!
He's a Black Sox sponsor, and he's chair of Lambeth Community Safety Alliance. He also served as senior policy advisor on equalities to the then Mayor of London, which was Ken Livingstone, and he's a former policing director for London, and also he's a DJ. So, can we welcome the one and only Mr. Lee Jasper to Set the Trend podcast for
Lee Jasper. He's definitely from the blue side of Manchester, isn't it?
I want to show the set, boys. I just want to show the set. The vinyl in the box here, boys.
Welcome to Set the Trend, Lee, and Happy New Year, by the way.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you guys, man. It's been a long time since we spoke last year, so delighted to be back with you all.
Yeah, I'm glad that you've come on here. We've got some questions to ask you as well today. First, though, I want to just go off of that, being that you've worked in the echelons of power before. What do you think of the two mayor candidates, Sean Bailey and Sadiq Khan? And specifically, which one would you work for?
I wouldn't work for any of them, to be honest.
Wow.
Sean Bailey is a non-starter. That's a joke candidate.
What makes him a joke?
Well, because, you know, the Tory party have given up on London, haven't they? They understand that they haven't got anybody like Boris. Without Boris, they've got nobody of sufficient candidature and sufficient weight to make a serious attempt. So in order to sort of polish up their diversity profile, you get some poor unsuspecting black man who's got ambitions above his station, give him a suit and tie and a 2p and say, go and run for mayor. You know what I mean? And that's why you're seeing him coming up with all sorts of crazy ass ideas, like the poor can save £5,000 for a deposit on their first house. You know what I mean? It's a good candidate. So that's why I wouldn't work for him. In relation to Sadiq Khan, I got more time for him, but I just don't think he's radical enough. I don't understand why he's so slow about coming forward with real proper innovation for London. You know, the one thing that, whether you like Ken Livingstone or not, everybody remembers the policies that he brings in. You know, everybody knows free bus fares, you know, the freedom pass for the over 60s. Everybody understands the congestion charge and, you know, thousands of our community got jobs in the transport systems, either on the tube or in the buses, as a consequence of the growth and investment that congestion charge brought forward. We all know he built the Bernie Grant Centre, the Stephen Lawrence Centre, the Nelson Mandela statue in Trafalgar Square, and gave huge amounts of money, hundreds of millions of pounds, to black organisations and businesses. So I just don't think he's radical enough for me. I think I'd be constrained in that position with Mr. Khan.
Okay.
Plus, he's not dealing with the police, is he really? I mean, I don't know what's happening to the Met, but they've gone back to version 1980s.
I was always confused about that relationship between the police and the Home Secretary. Who has the major decision between the Home Secretary or the Home Office Department and the Met, the London Met Office, over the Metropolitan Police?
Well, it's complicated, isn't it? Because the Met have some national statutory functions, which are, national security level, Buckingham Palace, Heathrow Airport, Gatwick Airport. So there are some national security functions that the Met undertake, for which they answer directly to the Home Office. And the Home Office set the law and the regulation around policing and crime and criminal justice policy with the Ministry of Justice. And then you've got the Mayor of London, who's responsible for making sure that the police are accountable as the policing. He plays the role of the Policing Crime Commissioner for London. So he's supposed to make sure that they're accountable and that they follow his priorities in relation to community safety and reducing crime and so on. But there's always tension between the two. So when I was in the office, the Home Office would want you to, tackle car crime. Yeah. And we'd say, that's not the priority for Londoners. It's something that might be domestic violence. Mm-hmm. And so, it got to the point where Londoners were smart, weren't they? Do you remember when mobile phones were the priority? And if you wanted a policeman at your house, you just rang up and said, my mobile phone's nicked, and somebody would be there. Whereas if you said, I was suffering from a burglary, you'd have to wait 2 days for a policeman to say it.
Yeah.
That's literally how it used to play out.
While we're on the police, Commissioner Carissa Dick doesn't believe her force is institutional racist. Is she right?
Yeah, you're crazy. I mean, you have to think of what parallel universe Commissioner Dick of the Yard is living in. I mean, it's just ludicrous. We've seen a massive upscale in the extent of institutionalized racism in the police. We've seen more and more stop and search. You've seen the videos as I have. Every week another videos like popping out of some god-awful disproportionate violence that our people are subject to. And, the fewer and fewer black people joining the force. They can't get them to join because black people's trust and confidence in the police service, particularly the Met, is the lowest level it's ever been in history. So it's clear that the force is institutionally racist. And it's just, all she's doing is living in that bubble of denial that will come at great cost at the end of the day. Because if we don't begin to improve the relationship, sooner or later, things are just going to bust out on the street like they did in 2011. And then everybody suffers for that, don't they? Black businesses. I always say when we have a riot, people, get off emotionally of running around the place thinking they're doing something. But we always pay for it in the end. And we pay times more the price than was initially envisaged. So it's in nobody's interest. And her denial just means the clock's ticking on when that happens again. So that's another reason why I think Sadiq's, weak on that level. He's got to hold them to account in a very proper way. Now, he has launched, as it happens, a big consultation about holding the police to account and improving trust and confidence. So we'll have to see how that plays out.
And I think he's trying to increase the more black people in the police force. Is that that's him doing that? Yes. Yeah,
he's trying to increase that, but he's got to keep the ones he's already got in there. If they're already leaving a disproportionate number, then it's like pouring wine into a broken glass, isn't it? It just ends up on the floor. So you end up, because you can't keep them after they've been there for 2 years because they're so scared of what they find when they join. that they leave in disproportionate number, and then you have to double the extent to which they get in there in the first place. So I think that he's got a big challenge on his hands, and certainly I don't see the police service looking like London anytime soon.
Right.
Lee, you mentioned protest and peaceful protest as well. When we look at Steve McQueen's Mangrove 9, you played a role in Mangrove.
Yep.
Do you want to tell us a bit about the history and about the gentleman himself who started Mangrove, as well as and the role that you played?
Well, you're talking about Frank Critchlow, aren't you? And he's often overlooked for Dark as How. And I don't say that in any negative way. I think Darkest is due all the highlight and praise and platform that he can get. But I think that Frank is the forgotten man of the Mangrove, and he's actually one who founded it.
There we have Lee on the right hand side. Is that you, Lee?
Right,
yeah, that's Lee. Love the stunner shades.
That's Jeb Johnson on the left there, and he was the director of Mangrove, and together we worked on Free and Frank. But Frank was the founder of the Mangrove in the late 60s. Everybody used to go down there. Bob Marley, Marvin Gaye, Miles Davis, government ministers, when they wanted to party on the dark side of town, they used to go over to Notting Hill and party in the blues.
Even my favourite, Nigella Lawson, apparently partied there.
Everybody's been down there, bro. Honestly, you wouldn't believe. Even Nigel Profumo. Yeah, you got a long enough history. You know about the government scandal of a Tory minister who was sleeping with a woman who was supposed to be linked to the Russian spy network. And them two cats were in the Mangrove, till late at night. So he built this thing, and then the police would raid him consistently, as it showed in the movie. And he's the man really that created the Mangrove. I worked for him for 15 years. I was chair of the Mangrove Community Association from the early 80s until the mid 1995. And it was really a strong black power unit all the way through there. And I was secretary of Notting Hill Carnival at the same time for them. So I've got that was my university. That's where I got my PhD in black politics. And Frank Critchlow was like, my ultimate godfather in terms of how he taught me to be an ethical leader. Because it's not just about standing up here and talking the talk. Sometimes you have to make really tough decisions. Sometimes you have to refuse money. Sometimes you have to go to live poor in order to keep your principles, in order to do the right thing. It's not always popular, but he taught me that. And one day I'm going to have to write the book about Frank. But if nobody else is going to do it, then I think it's down to me to write.
So how did you?
You know his daughter's right. His daughter is Leah Critchlow. She's the Hollywood movie star.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Leah Critchlow.
Yeah,
and the other daughter as well is Leonora. Is very musically talented.
Yeah, that's right.
His kids have gone on to do him incredibly proud. He's no longer with us, alas, but he would be enormously proud to see what they've managed to achieve. Credit to him and his family.
So when you're talking about you need to write the book, and I do think that you do need to do so. What did you think of Steve McQueen's depiction of Mangrove 9 that came out in November? It was a series of called Small Axe, and Mangrove 9 was part of it. How realistic was it for you?
I loved it, to be honest. I mean, it's a fictional portrayal, isn't it? So you're trying to cram a lot into an hour and a half program. So inevitably, there's certain elements that are not going to be in there and left out. But that's what books are for, isn't it? So that you can get the real, texture and detail in the full story. When you get movie recreations of historical incidents, they're always going to be, skimming over the top. So, but I thought it was absolutely fabulous. I thought they captured the essence of Mangrove as a community, people-led organization. There's a part in the Mangrove where they say to Frank, the Mangrove is not yours. You're just looking after it. It's the people's. Yeah. That's exactly what the Mangrove was.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we used to get told what to do. We weren't leading anybody. They come and say, "Listen, we want you to do this." But it's a kind of, the stories I could tell about that is true. But the Mangrove and Steve McQueen, I thought all of the series were absolutely brilliant, to be honest. And it's about
you did in the beginning, though. You didn't like the Lovers Rock.
I didn't like the Lovers Rock, but that's because I'm, you know what it was. It's because you know what, I looked at it from a sound boy's point of view. I was the kid that was carrying the sound boxes up and down the stairs, right, for the sound systems, and I just didn't get this esoteric look, which was a slightly spiritual look, which I didn't catch on to at first, about how he was portraying the story. And so I'm looking at it directly, like as a docudrama, and I was uncharitable to it. And when I looked at it again, and I began to reflect, I began to eat my words, because it was almost spiritual in the way it tried to portray Lovers Rock. And I don't think there was anything wrong with that. And I had to hold my hands up and say, you know what, I think I got that wrong. And you've got to be a big man in these times, innit? And if you,
I couldn't have said it better. I've been blasted by these guys when they asked for my view on it, and that's exactly how I saw it, which is that view of what he was trying to portray with the film, rather than focusing on that kind of like part of the sound system thing. So I'm glad we're in the same corner.
Reggie, we're on the same page. You know what, as well, what struck me to it is that the overwhelming negative reaction to it from our community. And I saw people putting like passion into this thing, like he personally insulted their mother, and that's what made me say, "Hold on a minute."
but Lee, being a music man yourself, like the audience who's really like outraged with it, they're passionate music lovers, and they didn't see what they wanted to see in it. That's why they had that kind of frustration.
I get
coming
it.
out of it.
I was with it. I'm a Mancunian man. So I don't have any appreciation for the nuanced culture of the metropolitan black elite, sort of rose-tinted glasses. I've had to learn my cultural appreciation. But I thought the whole series was great. I came to appreciate Lovers Rock, and I think it's great. Barack Obama listed it as one of his favorite movies.
Well, there you go.
You did.
Barack Obama.
Yeah.
There you go. Was it reminiscent of the Moss Side basement community centers that you used to frequent?
Yeah, the Reno, the Nile, the Western, the Shebeens.
What was that pub in? Is it Stretford or Moss Side? There's a pub. Is it the Wheat Sheaf or something like that, where they had the parties upstairs?
Yeah, well, there's about seven of them.
Oh, okay then. All right. I remember one that I used to go to.
Yeah, everything from Venn Street in Huddersfield to Chapeltown, Western.
Oh yeah, Leeds,
Moss Side, and little club called Kitty Man's in Oldham. Listen, we place, man, and it was reminiscent of those times. I have to say, it did invoke the spirit of those times. It went, it started to get a little what people thought was weird. Right, I had to recalibrate and think, actually, I know what he's trying to do now. He's trying to accentuate, right, the community camaraderie and spiritualism that held that community together. Don't forget, we're dancing to Lovers Rock, people were, being burnt to death in New Crossfire Massacre. So we were, and people were being racially attacked. So, and then you got the police and the sus on top of that. So that was your brief little loving moment. And, the artist stuff, the root stuff was too hard for some of these English youths. It's too hard for their palate. It's too soft. So, like, the real radical stuff, it's okay, but you really wanted to just hold your gal in a corner and rub some wallpaper. And I thought it was a great series of programs.
Lee, COVID. And specifically the impact it has on our community business-wise. Where's the money? How can we access some of these grants that are there? How can we get some of the money to support our, some of the businesses that are failing, that need help in this time?
You know what? There's bags of money out there. There's a ton of money at 4.6 billion that's been announced by the Chancellor this January for big people in the leisure and retail industry. But, there are lots of criterias with it. that apply. So you've got to be an existing business. You've got to provide your tax returns for the previous 2 years to get an average of what you're likely to receive in a grant. You know, there's all these caveats. All the stuff is on your local authority. Each local authority has got its own website dedicated to what you can get and how you can get it. But it is caveated. And I think the problem is that lots of our businesses are micro businesses, at 1 or 2 people units. And, you know, whether they've got enough tax returns to be able to qualify to meet that criteria, all those are material questions. But it's had a massive impact on our. I mean, it's not as though we were, you know, fully established as a business community anyway. We're in a precarious situation prior to COVID, and obviously this will just amplify that disadvantage and the number of businesses closed. You know, I really feel I get a lot of sponsorship for the stuff that we do in our communities from Black businesses. You know, and I've been ringing them up. The people like Audley, who owns Market House, and you know, Winston, who owns Health Eaters in Brixton, and Jamaican Valley, and all sorts of business holders, the Satay Bar, and you know, the Academy down in Brixton, and all sorts of people, and they're really suffering hard with this thing. So, you know, one hopes that we can get back to normal real quick. But there is money out there, but you've got to be an established business. Your books have got to be in order, and if you can pass that bar, then you can get yourself a loan. You can get yourself early access money. Up to £9,000 per individual business is available right now since January, on top of all of the additional COVID money that was announced last year.
As long as it's not Croydon Council. I got a friend who replied he only got £194.
Well, you know, one of the big things is that they did some research. I don't know if you saw it on Good Morning Britain, but they did some research, and what they saw is that there's a massive refusal rate on local councils for this support for local businesses. I'm not sure what local councils are doing because they've been given the money by government. Some councils like Hackney and others, they're shipping it out the door. 82% of all of their budget's already gone. They're shipping it out the door. And then you've got other councils who have got a 90% refusal rate from.
They're putting flower pots in the middle of the road.
You know, the traffic calming schemes. And there's no traffic on the road, bro. That's the thing. You know?
Right. So Lee, hold it right there. We need to bring back our previous guest. We've got questions for you still, Lee. So you're not going to get out of it. We've got some soundboy questions for you. So you hold it there. Hi, Basil. Back in the building. Reggie, you was looking up some questions. There were some questions for Basil.
Yes, that's correct. Hey, Basil, welcome back. Ebony Milestone, I don't know if you actually answered this. I think you kind of did. Has asked the question: have you considered a franchise model into the north of England, specifically Leeds, Manchester, Birmingham, which is the Midlands, for the vegan restaurant and also the well-being shop?
Okay, we have. To be honest, I've got a list as long as my arm from people that want a franchise. I've had inquiries from not just Manchester, Leeds, Liverpool, Birmingham. I've had them from Switzerland, New York, all over Europe, the US, Canada, the Caribbean. But it's a really challenging time. So we're trying to just make sure that we steady the ship. We already have a program for expanding and growing the business. We opened 2 more branches in the next sort of 30 days, some point in February, and another 2 more will be open by the end of May. Ultimately, we see the business as being a 200 outlet business within the UK. And there are also some negotiations to open overseas. But anyone that's interested in owning a bit of either business, Eat of Eden or Pen Pamsey, please send us an email, and eventually we will get to them.
Excellent. Vanessa Meyer says Rotterdam was nice, saying you should bring it back. One of our very regular contributors, Prue, she said she's got plenty of requests for you, but she said it's great to hear that there is such an emphasis on training about the employees of the products and the benefits, and because she's been dubious before. Wendy McLean would like to know your take on colonic irrigation. It is after 10 o'clock.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, I actually have a business which is on Stockwell Road in Brixton, right next door to Sackville Travel, 2 doors away from Brixton Academy. It's called the Vale Treatment Rooms. And within the Vale Treatment Rooms, we do colonic. We offer colonic irrigation. We offer massage. We offer fat freezing therapy, as well as some beauty therapies as well. So I absolutely
He's inviting you down, Reggie.
Yeah, I know. I can see you pointing it at me, innit?
No, but I absolutely endorse the benefits of colonic irrigation, as long as it's done professionally, and as long as it's done and you pay attention to the replenishment of your gut bacteria afterwards. So yeah, I'd say it's definitely a good thing.
I have one more question for you, Basil. This one's coming from New York City. It says, "What made Basil take up the health business? Did he or a family member have a health issue? So, what made you go into the health business, to start the health business?"
I personally had a health issue, probably about 15 years ago, and it was quite serious. And I ended up going through alternative medicine, and I basically recovered fully as a result of going through that program, and that's what got me on the road to holistic health. And the more that I got into it, is the more that I think it's definitely the right way to go. And that was part of the reason why we then developed the whole Eat of Eden brand, to try and support healthy eating. So personally, I think myself and lots of people that I know.
What's your top dish in Eat of Eden?
The top dish is probably our platter for sure, which is a combination of either 5, 7, or 12 different things from the menu, all in 1 or 2 boxes. So you get like a taster portion or a starter portion. Our meat wheat, which is flour.
Lee Jasper's favorite dish.
That's my thing, boy. That's my thing.
Yeah. So imagine, a lot of us, we love fried chicken. They say we like fried chicken, but you can season up, believe it or not, flour to taste quite similar to chicken, whether it's jerked, whether it's sweet and sour. And you'd probably not be able to notice the difference. If I gave you a wheat meat burger, you'd think you were eating chicken, but it's actually chicken on its own, unseasoned, doesn't taste that great. It would have no taste, but once you add the flavors and the authentic spices, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference between chicken and flour.
I'm definitely going to try that one.
I've seen the queue go around the block pre-COVID. I saw the queue going around the block at your establishment at lunchtime.
And on a serious note, I mean, Eat of Eden has declined significantly as a business. Our turnover has gone down. Unfortunately, we've had to furlough staff and reduce the hours of some of the staff that we've retained. But the most important thing is that we're spending less than we're earning, so we will survive. And we are committed to ensuring and that the business survives moving forward. And that's the reason why we're continuing to open new branches and continuing to invest.
And expand. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, we all got to support it and share the word.
Lee Jasper, the last time. Oh, sorry. Any questions to Lee? Is that? Good?
I have these specific questions for Lee, so I hope
you ready, Lee.
I see he's got his sound boy hat on.
So can I just say, in relation to Basil, look, I buy every Friday is my East of Eden day, right? That's my day when I get a couple of platters, right? Wheat meat is my nice thing, but I always get a couple of platters. And I think in these really difficult times, those black businesses who we can buy offline for, and they do deliver, So you can phone them up, deliver to your yard. Well, where I live close by. I would urge people to do that because we need to see these businesses survive this terrible period that we're all going through. So, and the wheat meat, trust me when I tell you, you will give up meat if you eat this wheat meat. That's
I'm definitely going to say.
I've got to infiltrate his culinary expertise and find out that menu because trust me, I can eat it every day.
All right, thanks for that, Lee. Right, so you're a old time sound boy, but you love Manchester, and I've never heard you play. So the guys wondered, let's see how good Lee Jasper is at this sound boy business. Let's see if he can walk the talk. You know. So what we came up with a scenario, and we're going to present a list to you, and you've just got to give us an answer. So the scenario is that you're at a blues dance. You're at a London blues dance. The crowd are pretty knowledgeable about black music. They're really into their revival and rare groove. Okay? And they're responding. Now, you've got to pick the choice out of these artists that I'm going to give you. And this will tell us what kind of selector that you are, whether or not you're just a happy-go-lucky selector or whether you're an authentic bad man selector. Yeah? And there may be a space of all white cocoa going for you as well in the upper room.
Hey! Wow, Lee, you're going to get on there before I do.
So, I'm just giving you the scenario. So, I'm going to give you the artist. Now, where's he gone now? He's running away already.
All right.
Oh, no, that's a bootleg, isn't it?
Yes, Steve.
Is that a raw?
Okay, so here you are. You're on the decks.
Yeah.
Do you play Bob Marley, One Drop, or Dennis Brown, Here I Come?
Brown.
You know, okay. Okay.
Yo, it's not a wedding. Real selector.
Okay. Bob Marley again, Crazy Bald Heads, or Dennis Brown, Revolution.
It's a close one, you know, but it's got to be Brown again. For me,
you know, your artist
again. I like Crazy Bald Head, don't get me wrong, and I would drop that. That definitely have it on my selection, but Revolution just gets the crowd them going wild. They love that tune.
All right, John Holt, Jam in the Street, or Gregory Isaac, Love Is Overdue.
Gregory. Just got to hear the opening bars, mate, and the crowd's gone mad already.
Now who's gonna hold you tight?
Yeah.
Okay. No, he might have got three more, so he might lose them to the other three.
Okay.
Bunny Wailer.
Yeah.
Fighting Against Conviction.
Yeah.
Or Big U, Any Other Man.
My resistance is getting weaker. I can't stand the pressure.
I think it would have to be Big Youth for me, because I think that Bunny Wailer, though I love him and I got Black Art Man, right here to play. Sometimes it's a bit too much for the crowd in a blues in a party situation. So, I think Youth goes down well all the time.
Yes, real selector. I don't think you need to ask him any more questions.
Give him
the gig, Ray.
Give him the gig, Ray.
Louisa Marks, Keep It Like It Is, or Janet K, Silly Games.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah. I love Louisa Marks. I really do love Louisa Marks, but it's got to be Silly Games, isn't it? It's just anthemic, isn't it? I do. I love that tune.
Okay. Yeah. And here's a rare groove one for you.
Yeah.
Luther Vandross, See Me.
Yeah.
Or Maze, Before I Let You Go.
Before Maze?
Yeah.
Before I Let You Go. That's like 4 a.m. style. Before you go out and get the bagels and shit. You know the coup.
Now, Lee, tell him your fee now.
I'll be your agent. I'll be your manager. 20%.
Tell him that you're not a cheap DJ, yeah?
I'm negotiating for you, mate.
Listen, I'll tell you what I was proposing last year and that was celebrity DJ class, because I was like flinging it down and saying, listen, any big celebrities out there that want to come and have a sound clash, half an hour each way, raise some money for charity, I'll be up for it. So Basil, you want to fling down some dub plate with me? And we raise cash. You understand me? Or if there's any other black
I'm
men,
a businessman. I've never been a DJ, man.
Yeah, we should have some celebrity sound clash, man.
Do you know that, Oli? I'm going to talk to my other partner, and I'm going to see if we can do you and somebody else in the all white vocal in the other room doing a little, doing a little thing. Because actually, I thought you might be a joker selector, but actually, you're real deal. No, he is because. Let's take Bob Marley, for instance. Yeah, Bob Marley and D Brown.
He answered it, Ray. He said it's not a wedding.
I'm just going to take it.
He's trying to justify his fee. Don't worry about it. Charge him what you're charging him, Lee. Charge him.
I don't know. I've already said I'm going to say him sort that. But what I'm saying is, for instance, a lot of selectors look at Bob Marley because of the promotion that he's got, and because he's kind of the face of reggae music, as he's the one. But every selector knows you can't go round Dennis Manuel Brown in a dance, in a blues dance.
Foundation. Yeah. But I'm listening to Lela Ike at the moment, and an album. It's a sort of lovers rock meets roots, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sure. And it's got a really nice feel to it. I was listening to it all today. So yeah, that's on my playlist at the moment.
Lee, let me ask you another question. The last time we spoke, it was on your Drive Time show, and you mentioned Newsnight, a black version of Newsnight.
Yeah, baby.
You was thinking of working on, or any updates on that? Any progress?
Well, look, the new version of Lee Jasper Drive Time starts on the 13th of February. It runs for a 13-week period. And don't forget, guys, it's the 40th anniversary of the Brixton riots this year in 1981. So in April, I'll be doing a special show looking back on those days and that music of the period, as well as some other stuff. And I'm part of a collective called 81 Acts of Exuberant Defiance, which is sort of 81 artistic interpretations of that uprising in 81 that we'll be delivering throughout this year. So watch out for the Lee Jasper on the Drive Time YouTube. I want you guys back on for sure, because there's challenges facing you guys in this industry. But Black Question Time, it wasn't Newsnight.
Oh,
Black
Question Time.
Yeah, I'm locking that down. I bought the site, Black Question Time, and we expect to get this. Lockdowns are things that's stopped us all in our tracks, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I just can't get an audience and just pull together people now. But watch for Lee Jasper's Black Question Time. That is going to be quite a hit. I'm sure it's going to be strong in the community.
Of course.
And if people want to get hold of you, Lee, like where can they get hold of you?
I'm all over the internet, bro. You can just look up Lee Jasper, Google. I'm on the Facebook. I'm on the Insta. I'm on the Twitter. You can just Google me and you'll find me one way or the other out there. So feel free to do that and look up Lee Jasper Drive Time on YouTube. Log on to the channel. Get yourself on there now. So as soon as we produce the first program is going to be on the vaccine, whether we should have it or not. So that's going to be a hot topic with the way our community is rolling at the minute. So make sure you get online and press the bell and subscribe so you know when that's coming through.
Okay. And Basil, for you, what's the future looking like for you?
To be honest, the future's looking bright. We've got some expansion programs within the UK and outside of the UK. So I'm looking at Ghana, I'm looking at Jamaica, I'm looking at the States in terms of going into partnerships. So, I'm really excited about the future. And, we're going to watch this space. With or without the lockdown, we're still going to grow.
Hold
on a sec, East. And where can people get hold of you, Basil? If they want to contact you, what's the best place for them to contact you?
You can contact me probably best by email, finance@eatofeden.co.uk or basil@penpamsy.com. Most of the time I'm in Brixton or I'm in one of the shops anyway.
Basil, I have a thumbs up for a product called a Tumbi. Is that right? One of your good sellers, is that right?
It's one of our top sellers. We actually sell probably 150 Atumbi every week, and it's an amazing bowel cleanser. Clears your bowel, your colon, and it really does relieve waste, acidity, gives you a whole complete detox. So I'd recommend that everyone, every single person on the panel, everyone listening, you need to continue cleansing. For, you know, don't forget the cleansing programs that you did as a kid. Maintain it in adulthood and cleanse at least once a year, because it does really keep the illness away, get rid of the toxins.
All right, thanks a lot. So thanks, guys. Thanks for coming on. Lee Jasper and Basil Linx on Set the Trend.
Lee, real selector.
Real
You know,
yeah, and real chef.
my DJ name is DJ Bodine.
DJ Bodine.
Is that with an E at the end?
Jasper Bodine.
Aye.
Can I urge people to subscribe to your podcast? Because I really enjoyed coming on your show. And I think lots of people would, you know, would value and enjoy it if they jumped on. So for all the people listening and all the people not, subscribe to the thing, man. Let's support each other. You know, I come on this show, they come on mine. You know, it's a reinforcing, supporting economy that we've got to have out here. Support Basil, support Set the Podcast. You know, I mean, let's show
Set the trend.
Show some love to each other.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. We will catch up. Thanks for coming on.
That's all.
Salute.
Take it easy, guys.
See you later, Bess.
You know what? It's funny that Lee said that because I really enjoyed that too. You know.
Yeah. It flew past.
In theory, though, I think Basil and Lee need their own show on here.
They do. Because you know what? There's a lot of questions that people are asking, and maybe if Basil's got any time or he's got a member of his team, it'd be good for him to get into the chat if you're still there, Basil, and answer a few people's requests and questions as well. You know, because we want to. Obviously, we don't know the answers, so it would be great to. But then again, Ray, you know, he's looking 21, going on 60, so he's all right. He's looking good. It looks like it's working.
Snap off.
So I'm sold.
I enjoyed that. Lee Jasper and Basil Linx. I really did enjoy it.
I forgot to ask Lee actually about you know, Kemi Badenoch came out this week about broadcast journalists asking her a question. A journalist for the Huffington Post called Nadine White.
You know, Lee would have just slewed her anyway.
Yeah, I know. I forgot to ask him about that.
I know Lee don't have no time for her anyway. Straight away. You know what I mean?
Right.
And he's a bad man selector on top of that.
Yeah. So Ray, talk to me because I'm going to try and do the deal for the agent fee.
I think we need a celebrity hour in there, and I'm feeling what I think Lee just giving me an idea.
Unfortunately, Reggie, I think Ray can cut out the middleman and go direct to Lee.
No, we can't. Once I hold that contract, I want Eat of Eden on the rider as well. Loads of platters.
Right. Let's look forward to next week's show.
Hey.
Producers, can you put up the flyer for next week's show, because that's going to be a good one. DJ Yardi, and that's the old.
That's the old one. Where's DJ? Put some respect on his name.
Put some respect
on his name.
DJ Yardi,
Chief Executive Officer for Baseline FM. He was the other half of Baseline FM after G Money handed it over to him, and he's going to have a lot to say. He had a lot to do with Baseline. He had a lot to do with its growth as well, and he's got his story. So we're going to hear his story. That put some respect on the man's name. You see that?
There we go.
Yardi, Baseline, Hot 97 FM. For those of us who used to listen to 97.9 FM back in the day,
and remembers DJ's Yardi
in the morning
breakfast show.
In the morning.
Yeah, he was fun, and he was part of the Three Wise Men as well as, and he did Kiss and Tell promotions, and he was in Reminisce Sound with Spitter. Wiley Boom.
Spitter.
Wiley Boom.
We got Spitter and Wiley, man.
So we look forward to that next week. Put on your hard hats for that at 10 o'clock. Suge Knight is definitely in the building next week.
Don't forget to
subscribe. Also, do remember, we're looking, Set the Trend Podcast. Not only do we want you to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, we're looking to get to 1,000 people liking and subscribing. So go to the YouTube channel, please like and subscribe. We're also looking for sponsors. So if you think you're a business and you want to sponsor Set the Trends podcast, talk to us.
Get that exposure, man. Get that great exposure going on.
Get that promo.
And it's timeless as well.
That's right. So hit the guys up, any one of the guys, and we will most definitely get back to you, whether it's Reggie, Eastender, or myself, or just message us. You can message us on Facebook with your direct link, or just get hold of one of us, and then that will be it. So before we go, Reggie, what you doing this week?
So getting a bit monotonous now. Radio show tomorrow. After tonight, going to celebrate the Arsenal draw.
So where can people get hold of you tomorrow?
Tomorrow, London Soul Radio, 8 p.m. till 10 p.m. All your favourite mellow jams. Monday, 3 till 6 p.m. On London Soul Radio, playing all your classics and also new music as well in the mix, and a few other bits and pieces. Apart from that, just going to be working on trying to do some deals for me companies. You notice the new background there with all the company logos. So
looks much better, sir.
Yeah. I've just relaunched my radio plug-in company at the moment. So, I'm getting back out there and destroyed it and rebuilt it. And same thing with the Sierra Leonean Connect Entertainment, which is my label that I created a few years ago, but now launching officially this year. I'm in talks about doing a label services deal, which is getting to a very close point. So hopefully, we might be going out in Africa, innit, and set the trend.
Cool. And before you talk, can you look in the chat room just for any comments? I'm going to come back to you in a second because I don't want to leave our listeners out. Eastender, what are you up to this week?
This week, Tuesday night, my Facebook live stream.
Don't give me a dissertation like he just did.
It's Tuesday night Facebook live stream from 10 p.m. to midnight. No, not really. And and then on Friday I've got this very important roundtable conference meeting about promoters, black promoters. I'll say no more about that.
Say no more until next week. Well done. Tomorrow morning, I'm up at 9 o'clock on the Breakfast Blues. You can catch me live streaming on
the number one show on the Sunday on
Facebook. Thank you, Reggie. On Mixcloud, on Twitch.tv.
Reggie just like the mix-up situation.
And on Instagram. What a situation room, yeah. So remember to join me in the morning. If you like and subscribe to my page, Fifth Avenue Official, then you will get an alert when we're coming on. Also, next week, we will be releasing as well. We're releasing our Spotify top 50 tunes, or 50-ish. It depends on if Reggie's still got a few to give me. But we will be releasing our playlist for Valentine's next week, Saturday, as well as. So,
and I do believe next week we got an artist closing out the show next week.
Excellent.
Oh, that's a big talk. Okay, well, I don't know nothing about that, but that's good. Like keeping secrets are we then you know where that's landed you before. So
big up to Valerie Hilton, big up to Karen, Scarlett, Brew, Sandra Prescott says that sounds like a good idea, Ray. Yes, we'll definitely tune in to Black Questioning Time. Some great comments. Gianette Bowles Dove says go Basil. And also, a lot of people getting in touch with Basil, Lisa Mack, Ebony, Milestone. Thank you very much for your contribution. So many people. We love it. Please do share and subscribe on YouTube.
Was that YouTube or was that Facebook?
That was on Facebook. Sorry.
What about YouTube,
on YouTube, Henry Mackey. Basil promoted the Gambian experience, which is a great experience. Kandrine, hello Kandrine. We as the black community need to invest more and stop limiting ourselves and face the challenges and grow. Barbara Lee says good evening all, and also big up DJ Coca Bean and also Chrome 3 as well, and tons of
and there's comments. one from Pat Paul on Facebook. Reggie, great listening to Reggie on LSR.
Oh, London Soul Radio.
Hey,
who? Pat Paul. Yes. Big up Pat. Respect to you. Thank you very much for your ears. Tell him.
Looks like someone stole it.
What's that?
It looks like someone stole Extender's name.
Where's that?
Where's that one come from?
It's Coco. See, look, even the producer.
That looks like.
DJ Coco
That looks like one of our unemployed backstage staff.
He might be able to sponsor us. Best cocoa beans in the business.
I actually like DJ Cocoa Bean. He's a real guy.
I know. He's on back to back FM. Big up Cocoa Bean, man.
That is his name. He looks like he just stole your thunder there, East. Okay.
No.
Anyway, wait, so unprofessional.
I know.
He thinks it's the situation room. Set the trend, son. Set the trend. That's right. Rid. That's right, Jay. That's right, my producer.
Oh gosh,
James, I've had a fantastic time. We'll see you same time, same place next week at 10 p.m. sharp. Like us on Facebook at Set the Trend Podcast. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're looking to get 1,000 by the end of the show, or by tomorrow at least. So subscribe. Even if you're on Facebook, you haven't subscribed, go over to our YouTube channel and subscribe. Hit the link and subscribe. Great day. Enjoyed that.
Outro.
Really, really enjoyed that. See you next week, guys. See you later. And thanks everybody in the chat rooms as well. Thank you very much. See you guys next week. Cool. We're out.
Intro.